Why would an extraordinarily wealthy and successful person leave his job in order to become a president that makes a lot less money and actually acquires a lot of public abuse? The same token, why is it that there are so many gurus and self-help and coaches that teach you how to become wealthier, how to network better, how to develop certain skill sets, but yet people attain those skills, go to those mastermind sessions, pay $5,000, $10,000, $50,000 for all of these sessions, but yet society is not improving. In fact, even those people's lives are not necessarily improving. They may become wealthier, they may become better speakers, better networkers, but their anger, their misery, their arrogance is not resolved. It actually gets worse over time. With all of the teachings that are out there, things are getting worse. With all of the money, he's getting a lower job. These things contradict logic. And tonight, the Jewish HaShkafa series based on the Chazon Ish's teachings is going to uncover some of these things so we know which footsteps to follow and which ones to run away from. Enjoy it, share it, and be holy. We're back here, starting a new week, getting back to Torah, Baruch Hashem, getting back to fixing ourselves through this series of the Jewish HaShkafa, basically Jewish morality and ideology are tied together, because if a person has the right ideology, by default he'll become a moral person. If they don't have the right ideology, then morality is far away from them. Tonight's shiur will be for the Refuah Shlema for Rabbi Ephraim ben Shulamit, Rabbanit Sarah bat Anat, Rabbanit Levana bat Sarah, Avi Mori David ben Esriya, Imi Morati Doris bat Jora, Sarah bat Esther, and all of Am Yisrael and all the righteous Noahides that continue to contribute and help us with all of the amazing things that the organization is doing. As a reminder to everybody to go to the Kiruv store at bhkiruv.org. Get yourself 20 copies of this book for free so you can distribute to your Hebrew-speaking community. If you have at least 20 people in your community that speak Hebrew, then this book is good for them, because it'll give them some new insights about each weekly Torah portion and a lot of MUSSAR that's going to help their lives. If you have only an English-speaking community, then get yourself some of these cards. These are the movie cards that get you to watch either the Tikkun HaBrit or the HaShem Took Back His Millions. Both films, Baruch Hashem, have helped countless people around the world get closer to Hashem. And this is also something that you can get there for free. So with that being said, anyone that wants to donate to help us with all of the amazing things that the organization is doing, especially with the new Kiruv table that we have, or here in South Florida. Any of you that have been following us, seeing the pictures of all the amazing people here in South Florida coming up to our boys that have our table with a bunch of free stuff. Everyone is amazed that this stuff is free, because each book is brand new, each book is expensive, and they're getting stuff for free. They're getting stuff to get closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, whether it's the my books, or Rav Nisim Yagen, or the Rabbi Zamir Cohen books, or some of the other things that Baruch Hashem we've been giving over these last couple of weeks since we started this new table, alongside also getting people to put on tefillin. A lot of guys forget to put on tefillin in the morning, and they figure that they'll do it later on in the day. We're simply making it easier for them to do it. So this table is looks simple, but it's hard work. It's and not only that, it's a very expensive, because you just simply look up the prices for any of these books, and you'll get an idea of how much this stuff costs. We're spending thousands and thousands of dollars to get Am Yisrael closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If you want to be a partner in that endeavor, by all means, donate on our websites, BeEzrat.org or BHTorah.org, or send a check, or whatever way you want to send your contribution. So we're going to get back to our series, and we're starting a new segment here in chapter 4, where after the Chazon Ish completed the section 14, with simply teaching us how to love ourselves. What does it really mean to love yourself? It's obviously very different than how the secular world defines loving yourself, where typically loving yourself requires you to fulfill some type of desire, and typically fulfilling those desires actually makes you hate yourself right after you complete fulfilling that desire. So loving yourself has nothing to do with fulfilling desire. The same as today's segment, which is how to fix all of your flaws, how to make yourself the best version of yourself, has nothing to do with what you would typically learn about making yourself better, because typically the programs that are out there that are trying to improve you, they're trying to improve you with things that are material. Improve your bank account by making you richer. Improve your business skills by giving you different types of courses to teach you business skills. Improve your speaking ability. Improve your networking ability. Improve all types of things that, yes, although some of these courses are not fake and they actually are very much real, but they're not necessarily going to improve you. Many people that have actually succeeded in these mastermind classes, and have become better networkers and better speakers and better and even wealthier, or whatever betterment they got, they still didn't become a better version of themselves, because if they were miserable before the course, they stayed miserable after. If they were an angry person before the course, they stayed an angry person after. If they were a stingy person before the mastermind, huge 5,000 people session, they stayed a stingy person thereafter. It's nothing actually changed about themselves aside from acquiring a new skill. What the Chazon Ish here is trying to teach us is simply the foolproof biblical tip of how to fix you. One shot and you get everything. Now, of course, it's not as easy as it sounds, but needless to say, this is something that not only the Chazon Ish is telling us, but this is something that we actually have in our Torah multiple times. And in fact, last week when we covered the weekly Torah portion in our Stump the Rabbi lecture on Wednesday, we only covered one of the parashot. There was actually 2 parashot last week, so BeEzrat HaShem tonight, we're also going to give you some insights about the parasha that we missed, Parashat Balak. As anyone that knows the alachot of Shtay Mikra ve'echad Targum, the fact that you have to read your weekly parasha twice, and then once with commentary, you could actually complete it until Tuesday morning. So anyone that is still hasn't completed the Shtay Mikra, or at least the Echad Targum, could have this as one of the additions you could add to what you're going to be doing anyway over the next day and a half. So, with that being said, we have the Chazon Ish telling us this. Once a person adds to his store of wisdom the factors compelling him to chase after false honor, anger, and other desires will become depreciated in his mind's eye. For wisdom gives life to those who attain it, bringing them to a life of light, an elevation of the spirit, heavenly life, the forsaking of baseness, meaning lowliness. All of these are natural consequences of gaining wisdom. Here the Chazon Ish gives us another mouthful where in so many words he's telling us if you gain wisdom, you will fix yourself. Now, what is wisdom if it's not the Torah? That's what the Gemara says. Wisdom, anytime that the word wisdom is mentioned in the Torah, it's referring to the Torah, because the Torah itself has in it all 7 levels of wisdom, and if a person studies Torah, that truly dedicates themselves to Torah, not just reading it for intellectual purposes, but actually studying it and applying it to their life, they'll actually be able to be gifted. They'll become a vessel to receive this ultimate wisdom. But this wisdom is not just a wisdom that's going to make a person smarter. It's not going to be a wisdom that's necessarily going to make a person wealthier. It's a wisdom that's going to make the person happy. It's a wisdom that's going to make the person eliminate all of the negative traits that people have, whether it's arrogance or stinginess or the number of other negative traits that we all have or have had or know somebody that has at some point in our life, all of these things will simply go away. Why? Because as the Chazon Ish says, as a person adds to his wisdom, these factors that compel him, meaning the inclinations that compel him to chase after honor and anger and other desires, will simply become worthless in his eyes. Now, when a person starts thinking about this, like, why would learning Torah make me not want to be honored? Why would learning Torah make me not want to become rich? Perhaps, having money is a good thing, but it's no longer going to become your life. And even if you don't have it, you're still going to feel happy. Meaning, you're no longer going to define your happiness by the things that you have. And in fact, one of the worst things that a person can do to themselves is define their happiness by the things that they have, because as the Gemara in Masechet Sukkah says, person that loves money will never have enough money, and no one dies with even half of what they want. So the more a person desires, the more poor they feel. And in fact, one of the worst things that a person can do in addition to this is get to a point where they start coveting and becoming jealous of what other people have. This literally can lead to some of the worst things that can happen in a person's life, which we'll discuss tonight. So, first and foremost, we want to get a better idea of what is this false honor. False honor, obviously, is sounds a little odd, because on one end, the average person out there, the more that they acquire, the more that they know, the more that they believe that they've achieved, the more they want recognition. The entire world of social media is built upon people's addiction to recognition. They want recognition for the things they say. They want recognition for the things they do, even if it's something meaningless, like eating. They want recognition for the fact that they went to a certain restaurant and ordered a certain type of meal. So they take a picture of it and they show it on the internet. They want recognition for the fact that their body looks a certain way. They want recognition for buying certain things and showing people they can afford it. They want recognition for all types of ideas that they have, even if those ideas are not truly their own, and even if those ideas are not truly correct. People want recognition, and in fact, they spend day and night looking for that recognition. I remember meeting a certain Jew that more or less, knew a little bit of Torah, had been around for a long time. But one of the things that truly disappointed me in our first encounter, at least, and it happened multiple times. Every time I talked to him, he would keep mentioning the same thing. He would mention good things, but then he would ruin it with this one thing that really drove me crazy, and I couldn't believe somebody that's, I don't know, some people view him as an elder, like someone that's been around for a long time, someone that has known a lot of big rabbis. And it was very, just unbelievable to me that this happened. But then when you read the Torah and you read about Korach, you read about Zimri, you read about all of these people, and you realize, wow, they were also great at one point. Korach was a Navi, was a prophet. He was a righteous person all of his life until he screwed it all up because he chased honor. He wanted the top position, and Moshe Rabbeinu was in his way. Zimri was also one of the top people, one of the elders of Israel. He, in fact, the whole story of Zimri and Cosby, which perhaps we'll go into later this week when we go into Parashat Pinchas, but this whole story begins at the end of Parashat Balak, where Zimri that wasn't really his real name. He had a different name, the Gemara says. He had multiple names, and he's mentioned in the Torah multiple times. Each time they have a census, where they say the head of the Shimon tribe. Now, this Zimri, as he's forever going to be known as, was an elder, Not because he knew a lot more only, but rather because he was literally the oldest, one of the oldest of the land. He was the direct grandson of Yaakov Avinu and the son of Shimon, meaning he was hundreds of years old. He was there throughout the entire time that Yaakov Avinu went to, with the 70 people, went to Egypt with Yosef HaTzadik. He was there the entire 210 years that we were in Egypt. He was there the entire 40 years of being in a desert. This is a person that's literally hundreds of years old, and he was considered one of the leaders, and he threw it all away because of some kavod, where the Gemara says that after the Jews started sinning with the non-Jewish girls that were sent from Midian, where the device of the evil Bilaam worked. It worked because after he saw that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not going to let him curse Am Yisrael, he actually tried, the third try, some Chachamim say that he actually tried witchcraft. The first 2 times he tried to prophesize against Am Yisrael, it didn't work, but if you notice on the third time, it says he didn't do the same thing that he did the first couple of times. And some of the Chachamim say that he actually tried witchcraft, but Hashem still came to him in prophecy and made him give Am Yisrael another blessing. So after he saw that Hashem is simply not going to let him curse Am Yisrael, he told Balak, if you want Am Yisrael to get punished, you want Am Yisrael to lose, you have to get them to sin. If they sin, they will distance themselves away from their God that's protecting them. How do you do it? Their God hates immodesty. Their God hates immorality. If you send your non-Jewish girls to get them to sin with the Jewish boys, that's going to get Am Yisrael punished by their God. And that's exactly what happened. Now, after this happened, the situation was horrific because the plan was perfect. What did they do? They set up shop. The Midianites set up shop, where as if they're having like a flea market in the middle of the desert. On the outside was an old lady selling things for cheap, getting people interested. After the Jewish people came there, everybody felt, oh, okay, there's no harm here. There's no swords, there's no army, there's no nothing, no problem. Why not visit this, get some discounts? The people went over there, went to the different stores, and each one of them had a little tent. And as soon as they got there, they offered them, hey, listen, if you want a drink, which is obviously forbidden, the wine of Yain Nesech. Yain Nesech is forbidden to a Jew, the wine of the non-Jews. But in order to entice them, they would open up the tent, and inside was a beautiful non-Jewish girl who told them, come, I even have better prices than my mother outside. And of course, the Jews went inside, and after convincing him to drink, making the first sin, they said, listen, if you want, you could serve my idol. But serving my idol, we serve them by, immorality, by being naked. Now, of course, these Midianites had no problem doing this. That was their whole job. But in order for the Jew to fulfill his desire, he had to serve their idol. And this is how they got countless of them to sin. Now, how would Moshe Rabbeinu know that who sinned and who didn't? You're talking about millions and millions of people in a desert. Not all of them sinned. The son that vouched for Moshe Rabbeinu during the battle of Korach and said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm not going to shine if you don't kill Korach, and ended up getting punished by Hashem for saying such a statement. But nonetheless, the son obviously loved Moshe. And the son made a special shine on all of the people that sinned. And Moshe was commanded by HaKadosh Baruch Hu to start killing people. All the people that sinned with his idol worship, with his immorality, with the non-Jewish girls, each one of them had to get killed. That was the punishment. Now, as soon as Moshe Rabbeinu started killing people, the people of the Shimon tribe that saw some of their friends getting killed ran to the leader, Zimri. And they said, how is it that you are always telling us that you're the leader? you're the elder, you're even greater than Moshe Rabbeinu, but Moshe Rabbeinu is killing us, and he won't even discuss it with you. He didn't even consult with you. Are you really a leader? What kind of leader are you? So of course this hurt the honor, the pride of Zimri. And immediately he said, let me show you what kind of leader I am and how I'm better than Moshe Rabbeinu. He started walking towards Moshe Rabbeinu, and the Satan of course sent the princess of Midian to him. She was looking for Moshe. He says, why are you looking for Moshe? She said, oh, I'm a princess. I have to go to the leader. He says, I'm greater than Moshe. I'm older than him. I'm hundreds of years old, much older than Moshe, but still healthy like a young man. So she went with him, and he grabbed her by the hair, and he showed it to Moshe Rabbeinu in front of all of the other elders. He says, look, what can you do about it? Nothing. Just like you converted your tzipora, I'm going to convert this one later. And in essence, publicly desecrating not only Moshe Rabbeinu and embarrassing him, but desecrating God's name. But the question was, can we kill this guy before he sins? And b'siyat d'ishmaya, we had an insight. We realized that the pasuk says that everybody started crying. Moshe Rabbeinu was crying. All the elders are crying. Everybody's crying. Why are you crying? Because one of the leaders just went off the derech publicly. And they don't know the halakha. Everybody forgot whether they're allowed to kill the guy before he sinned, or do you have to wait after the sin. Why? Because if we wait until after he sins, that means he's going to desecrate God's name. Why do we have to wait until he desecrates God's name for us to kill him? And how do we prove that he did the sin? As he walks away, Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen comes to Moshe Rabbeinu and says, Moshe Rabbeinu, you're the one that taught us that if a Jew is sinning with a non-Jewish woman, someone that's truly zealous can kill them if they're in the middle of the act. If it's before the act, you can't. If it's after the act, you can't. But if it's during the act, you can. Moshe Rabbeinu said to Pinchas, you said the halacha, clearly it's your tikkun to fix it. This was actually an insight that I got from Rabbi Elimelech Milizhinsk, one of the great Hasidim of the Baal Shem Tov. And that was the tikkun of Pinchas. And Pinchas went and killed Zimri and Cosby together. Now, the question is, why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu give this great insight to Pinchas? Why didn't he give it to Moshe Rabbeinu? Why didn't he give it to somebody else? So, Rabbi Elimelech Milizhinsk says that he gave it to Pinchas because that was his tikkun. But in addition to that, we thought that if you notice in the pasuk at the end of last week's parasha, it says that as soon as Pinchas saw, as soon as he saw what was happening, he acted. Now the word for saw, vayera, is spelled exactly the same way as vayira, which means, and he feared. Which means that Pinchas ben Elazar, the reason why HaKadosh Baruch Hu allowed him to do such a thing and gave him a blessing, as we'll learn later on in this week's parasha, Pinchas ben Elazar had an extraordinary level of yirat shamayim, of fear of heaven. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu uncovers his secrets to those that fear him. Because he feared him, HaKadosh Baruch Hu let him know. He let him see. And this is in essence the Torah source for one of them, for what the Chazon Ish is actually saying here. He's saying that after we gain this wisdom, this false honor, this anger, these desires will depreciate in our mind. A guy like Zimri had it all. He had wealth, he had wisdom, he had everything. But because he was chasing pride, he lost it all. Korach had it all. He was the richest man of the land. He had as much money as all of Am Yisrael put together. The Gemara says that he had 70 camels just to carry the keys to all of his safes for the wealth that he had. Until today there's an expression that says, Ashir ke Korach, wealthy like Korach. He had everything, but he was looking for honor. He was looking for respect. Bilaam HaRasha. Bilaam was a prophet. He was the prophet of the Goyim. He had the ability to do whatever he wanted. But he wanted honor. He wanted respect. And he lost it all. In fact, one of the things that Bilaam did that is particularly detestable is while he was blessing Am Yisrael, he really was meaning a curse. And the Gemara in Masechet Sanhedrin, page 105, says that when he says, may their fragrance not waft, like fragrance aloes planted by God, he actually wanted to tell everyone that may the converts that are looking to convert to Judaism not convert. He was cursing all the converts. Why? Because he wanted them to find the fragrance of the Torah detestable. He didn't want them to like the Torah. He wanted all the people, all of the Gentiles to be like him. Hate the Torah, hate the truth. Because the truth restricts a person from fulfilling all of his desires. At least in a kosher way. So, one of the things that Bilaam did was curse the converts. But why? Why curse the converts? Because he saw Yitro. Yitro was his colleague. Yitro, Job, and Bilaam were the three wise men of Pharoah at some point in Egypt. When Pharoah asked them, what should we do with all of these Jews? There's so many of them. The so-called Jewish question that's been in people's minds for hundreds of years. This is the question that many people felt that they could answer by simply giving a piece of land or giving some money or giving some political position. The truth is, the only answer to that question is if the Jews follow the Torah, the world will simply not be a bother to them in any way, shape, or form, because the salvation will come to everyone that's righteous. But when Pharoah brought this question of what do we do with all of these Jews, Bilaam said, enslave them. Slave them. There's so many of them. If you don't enslave them, they're going to take over. Job didn't say anything, because he knew if he says something, and Pharoah doesn't like it, Pharoah will kill him. So he didn't say anything. For that he got punished for staying silent at the time of need. And that's why he got all the troubles that he got that's mentioned in the book of Job. Because overall he was a righteous person, but he didn't speak up for Am Yisrael at the time that he needed to. So he got all of the suffering that he got during that 1 year period. Yitro, on the other hand, Yitro spoke up. He says, why would you go against the Jewish people? They're the ones that built Egypt. They're the ones that built the banking system, the legal system, the technology system. They built everything. Why would you go against them? Leave them alone. Don't you remember Yosef? Yosef is the one that saved Egypt. If it wasn't for Yosef, they would have killed, everybody would have died from famine. If it wasn't for his brothers, if it wasn't for his family, everybody would be dead here. Why would you go against them? But as soon as he's finished saying it, everybody looked at him with a funny face, and he knew that he has to run away. Yitro ran away back to his land, to Midian, but he saw there's more idol worshippers over there. And by then he heard what happened with the Jewish people and how HaShem destroyed the Egyptians through a series of 10 plagues, split the ocean for them, took them out of Egypt in miraculous ways, and then defeated the worst nation on planet Earth, which is Amalek. When Yitro heard this, he immediately came to Moshe Rabbeinu and he wanted to convert. So, when Bilaam comes to see Balak, and what does he want? He not only sees the Jewish people, the people that he hates, the people that he failed at destroying in Egypt, but he also sees Yitro. He says, how is it possible that Yitro, he was a fellow idol worshiper. He was a wicked guy. How is he a Jew now? Look at how much honor he's getting. For that he hated the converts. For that he hated that Yitro made the right decision and became one of the chosen people. Because Bilaam believed in God. He knew that God is the greatest. but he didn't want to fulfill all of the mitzvot. He wanted the honor of being the prophet of the non-Jews. So Bilaam lost everything because he was chasing more honor. Korach lost everything chasing more honor. The biggest people that ever lived, as far as their position in the world, whatever honor they got, whatever wealth they acquired, typically their addiction with honor is what destroyed them. One after the other. Because this is what Torah promises that will happen. The Mishnah in Masechet Avot, in chapter 4, Mishnah number 28. In some Nusachim it says Mishnah number 21. But it's the same Mishnah. It says, Rabbi Elazar Kapar Omer, הקנאה והתאווה והכבוד מוציאים את האדם מן העולם. Rabbi Elazar Kapar, one of the great Tanaim, whose son was Bar Kapara, one of the foremost students of Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. And Rabbi Elazar Kapar says, in essence, a statement of this is a fact, no different than the facts that we have in the world of physics, facts that we have in the worlds of mathematics, facts that we have in the world that we know that there is no other truth. You look up, you're going to see a sky. You're not going to see anything else. You're going to see a sky. Tomorrow you're going to see a sky. The next day you're going to see a sky. And every day in that sky, you're going to see a sun. Not because the sun was there yesterday, but as the Chafetz Chaim says, because the Torah says, Yom v'layla lo yishbotu. The day and night will never cease. You're always going to see a sun in the sky. Now, you know that there's gravity. No matter how much people would like to live in a world without gravity because it looks kind of cool to float, the reality is gravity is where we live, what we need. In fact, gravity is not something you can debate. Same concept as these statements in the Mishnah. Rabbi Elazar Kapar says, jealousy, lust, and glory, meaning seeking honor, remove a man from the world. These three things, if a person is going to live a life of jealousy, live a life of chasing all types of things that belong to others, he's always going to look at himself based on how he measures to his neighbor, to his fellow, to his colleague. Now, of course, the natural inclination is going to tell you, yeah, but doesn't that tell me how I'm doing? No. It definitely does not. Now, true that competition and ambition are good tools if you know how to control them. But if that competition and ambition yields you jealousy, then it's a deadly tool. Because what ends up happening if a person is a jealous person, then that means that they're now a slave to that character flaw. And they're willing to do anything in order to satiate that character flaw. It's not like ambition where you're simply desiring to do better than what you're currently doing. It's not like someone that is looking to be successful. Jealousy is pretty much putting yourself in a position where you're unhappy because somebody else has something. Even if you already have it, you're still unhappy that they have it. There was a guy, literally, young kid, trying to make something out of himself, new to America, and he was staying by his rich uncle's house. Now his uncle has millions of dollars. He built some companies, made some money, whatever. But this young kid, he's 20 years old, 21 years old, new from Israel, here in America, and he's looking for work, he's looking for this, and that. Anyway, long story short, he His uncle told him, stay by me. You'll stay for free. I don't need your money. Everything is good. Just make something out of yourself. Don't cause any trouble. Fine. So this kid gets a job. And he's a salesman. And he does well. In a short period of time, the kid starts making money. And all of a sudden, he's buying a couple of nice things. He buys a watch. He buys this. He buys that. And the uncle says to him, where'd you get all this money from? You're only working here for a couple of weeks. He goes, no, listen. I landed this good job of making some money. I made $1,000 today. $1,000? How'd you make $1,000? He goes, no, listen, the boss told me if I sell this and I'll make $1,000, and I got it. He goes, you made $1,000? Yeah, okay, so if you made $1,000, that means you could start paying rent. What? Why? But you said that if it's free, you don't need the money. If you made $1,000, now you can pay rent. What does that mean? The rich guy still is rich. Nothing changed for him. He was rich before the kid made $1,000. He was rich after the kid made $1,000. The $1,000 that he made didn't come from the rich guy. Didn't come from the rich uncle. But because he is a jealous person, it's not about he doesn't have and you have. Like most people think, he's jealous because the other guy has and he doesn't have. That's the natural way people define jealousy, but that's not real jealousy. That's part of jealousy, but that's not real jealousy. Jealousy at its root is an evil thing because it's not about he has and you don't have. It's about the fact that he has, period. You're just unhappy that other people have. Even if you have it. Even if you have it. You're simply upset that other people succeed. That other people have the toy. That other people have a new car. That other people are getting married. That other people found happiness in some way or another. That's jealousy. And that, Rabotai Karim, is one of the most evil things that a person can have in themselves without even realizing it. It's literally feeding yourself poison every day and telling yourself it's vitamin B. Because the evil of jealousy doesn't go away by itself. Even if you get the $1,000 or the $10,000 or you get the toy or you get the motorcycle or you get the car or you get the house or you get the girl or you get whatever you get, you're still not going to be happy. Why? Because deep inside there's still that rotten, evil jealousy that will not let you rest. It'll simply calm down for a moment, make you believe that, you're fine now, until it wakes up the next day, until it wakes up the next morning, when you see something else that somebody else has. To allow yourself to be jealous is literally allowing yourself to be an evil person without even acknowledging that it's evil. Most people think jealousy is simply looking at other people's stuff and not having it, and therefore you're jealous. That's just one form of jealousy. Generally speaking, those people that are jealous there are also jealous even if they have the stuff. And you have to remove that jealousy from your heart because as Shlomo HaMelech says in Proverbs chapter 14 verse 30, Urekav atzamot kin'ah. But the envy is the decay of bones. Say the Chachamim, what does it mean the envy is the decay of bones? Anyone that lives in this world and dies with jealousy in their heart, they will not be resurrected with the dead. Why? Because the jealousy is not just something that destroys you spiritually. It will eventually destroy you physically, where in the grave, that bone that you need, there's one bone in the back of the neck that is going to be used to resurrect the dead. That's a bone that's indestructible. That bone will be destroyed. Why? Jealousy makes it all rot, makes it all go away. So remove jealousy from your heart because jealousy is a form of heresy. How is jealousy a form of heresy? Simple. By saying that you're unhappy that somebody else has, or even thinking that somebody else has something that you don't have. You're in essence telling HaShem, he made a mistake. You're telling God, he made a mistake. Why did you give him the car and not me? in essence telling God, you deserve the car and not the other guy. You're telling the king of all kings he made a mistake. Now imagine for a moment there was a king of flesh and blood, not some moron that falls over himself and pretends to be a president, like a real king. And somebody told that king, Your Highness, listen, with all due respect, but I think you're wrong. They won't even allow you to finish the sentence. They'll simply chop off your head. Why? You said the king is wrong? You lost your right to live. Now this is a king of flesh and blood, but yet people tell God that he's wrong every single day by being jealous. Being jealous of another person is a form of heresy. 100%. Why? You're telling God that he made a mistake. He gave him and not you. One of the worst things in the world that people do is when they speak about other people's money. Oh, you heard about this superstar, this basketball star, this movie star, this star, that star. He made 50 million. Oh, you heard about this fund manager. He made 100 million. Oh, you heard about this one. Who cares? Is he paying your bills? Are you paying his? Is he taking the money from your pocket? What do you care? Why do you care that people make or don't make? What does it do for you? It's the lowest form of conversation. And that's unfortunately people expressing their jealousy openly, as if it's okay to do. This is like, literally, imagine somebody just decide, your colleague at work, whatever you do for work, you're out there, you're having lunch together, and he just decides to tell you, listen, yesterday I killed 5 people. The day before, I killed 10. Tomorrow, I'm planning 20. And he starts telling you about all the people that he wants to kill and all the people that he already killed. Or, maybe not so bad with people, he starts telling you about how he abuses animals. He decides to tell you, listen, I have a, whole backyard, so I fill it up with a bunch of different dogs, and I abuse all of them. I shoot BB guns at them, I whip them, I electrocute them, sort of like what these psychopath athletes do sometimes when they have big fields and a bunch of dogs and nothing to do with their money. So they simply abuse animals. Now, if you heard this, and you're a normal human being, you're going to say, are you insane? Not only are you doing these evil things, but you're talking about them openly as if it's okay? What's wrong with you? How could you do such things? Needless to say, how can you talk about them? You're killing people, you're killing animals, you're doing horrible things, and you're talking about it like you're talking about the weather, like there's no big deal. You're a true psychopath. Rabotai Karim, talking about other people's money is no different. Why? You're in essence projecting your evil on society. Talking about other people's achievements is no different. You're projecting your evil eye on society. Talking about other people's flaws and how they got a divorce and how they lost this and how they lost that. Lashon hara is no different. Why? Because you're projecting your hatred and your happiness that they're failing. You're actually getting joy out of speaking about other people's failures. How much worse can it get? Oh, you heard about him? Yeah, they're only married 5 years, but she left him. Why are you talking about it? What? It's a good scoop, no? For who good? Would you be happy if I told everybody else that she left you? Would you be happy if I told everybody that your kids don't want to say, even a happy birthday or a good morning to you because they can't stand you? No. So why do you think it's your business to publicize other people's failures? Why do you think that it's your business to publicize other people's successes? Why are you talking about other people? If you're warning society from someone dangerous, then it's certainly a mitzvah. But if you're just simply spreading the scoop like some newscaster, you're going to share the same level in Gehinnom as them. And people do it without a problem. They do it regularly. Hey, what are you doing? Nothing. No, I just spoke to such and such, and she just told me that her husband didn't come home last night. Wait, when she told you that her husband didn't come home last night, did she tell you make sure to share it with all of your girlfriends? Did she tell you, put it on the internet? Put it on Twitter? Did she tell you that she's calling you to ask you for the favor to share her most personal details with the world? Is that why she called you? Oh no. So why are you sharing it? Oh no, because she cares about her. Really? She cares about her, and how's she going to help her when she knows that her husband didn't call last night and didn't come home last night? How's that going to help her exactly? How is that going to help her? How? It doesn't help her. In reality, you're enjoying it. You are enjoying talking about other people. Hence the reason why the Chafetz Chaim says you will go to Gehinnom for that. Why? You're getting joy. You're getting joy out of other people's lives and failures or successes that are not your business. Where does this all come from? Jealousy. It all comes from jealousy. All of it. And that's one of the things that Shlomo HaMelech says, get this out of your system immediately. You hear that people succeed, mabruk, good for them. Their success doesn't mean my failure. Their success doesn't take any money from my pocket. You hear people fail, pray for them. BeEzrat HaShem will help them. Be good. Don't look for people to fail. Don't look for people that are less than you. Don't be unhappy because other people have and you don't. And needless to say, don't be unhappy that other people have, even when you do. Because these types of things will simply remove you from the world, both this world and the next. In the next, you already realize, because we already discussed what the Chafetz Chaim said will happen to those people, what the Rambam says about those people. But even more so, when a person lives a life of jealousy, what ends up happening is that their whole life is lived vicariously through other people. Their happiness is determined by whether other people are more miserable than them or not. If they see everybody happy, they become miserable. If they see people are miserable, they become happy. She found out that her next door neighbor is getting married. She's unhappy. Why? Because either she's already married 5 years, so she doesn't have the excitement of getting a new dress, or she's not married, so she feels like, oh, how come HaShem didn't send me her husband? Wait, so you're telling me that if he sent you a husband, if he knocked on your door instead of hers, you'd say, okay, I do? Like, this is the things that people need to put thought into. Why? Because these are the roots of all of our problems. All of our problems start here. When we look at life with the wrong ideology, with the wrong perspective, we somehow feel entitled to have things that we don't. And when other people have them, we don't get a good feeling out of it. Many people are unhappy for other people's success, as if that belonged to you. So here we see, Rabotai, David HaMelech tells us, Shlomo HaMelech tells us, all of the Chachamim tell us, jealousy is not good, unless you're jealous of a Talmid Chacham, and that's going to inspire you to learn even more Torah. That's allowed. That's why Hashem created this bad trait, because there's one way to use it for good. You see a Torah scholar, knows a lot of Torah, you're jealous of his Torah knowledge, and that's going to encourage you to learn more Torah. That's a good jealousy. Everything else, forbidden. Everything else forbidden. You see somebody else doing a mitzvah, and that's going to encourage you to do a mitzvah. Do it. Good for you. Everything else, forbidden. Meaning, if you're going to use it to elevate yourself spiritually, you see that he gives and you're going to give. You see that he does good and you're going to do good. Go for it. That's good jealousy. But if it's everything else, it's not good. So that's the first thing the Mishnah says. Second thing is lust. Lust, Rabotai, is what jealousy leads us to. If a person does not control their jealousy, they'll eventually lose everything as a result of their lust, chasing lust. Bilaam, his jealousy of the Jewish people didn't stop there. Because once you're not able to control your jealousy, it's a free-for-all on everything else. So his lust also could not be controlled. And even though he was rich, he was known, he was popular, he had everything you could possibly have, it wasn't enough. He wanted something taboo. What's taboo? It wasn't enough for him to marry one normal woman. It wasn't enough for him to marry 2 women. It wasn't enough for him to marry 3 women. In those days you were able, and it was known that many people married many women. No, Bilaam didn't want that. He wanted something new. What did he have? His donkey. He married his donkey. He married his donkey. In the same week we read Parashat Balak, where we learn that Bilaam married his donkey, just like Belshazzar married his dog, and just like some of the other kings married different animals, as the Gemara in Masechet Rosh Hashanah talks about. One of the mayors of Mexico publicized proudly that he married his alligator last week. The same parasha. The mayor of Mexico, one of them, married an alligator. He bought her a wedding dress. He had a ceremony. People were carrying the alligator. He calls her a princess. This is actually happening as we speak. Now he tied her mouth up because apparently she talks too much, or perhaps she's going to bite him. I'm not really sure. Maybe some of the other fellow idol worshippers are looking at him with jealousy because they also want to tie their wife up that way. I'm not really sure. All I know is what's happening in the Torah, it's happening for a reason at the specific times. Where does all this come from? Simply people chasing lust without giving themselves any boundaries. They don't want a boundary. So one woman to one man is not enough. One man to one woman is not enough. They want more. They want more and more, and that's where LGBTQ comes from. That's where all of the bestiality comes from. That's where all the craziness comes from. That's tava. That's tava. So we see here that a person that chases their jealousy is not going to end up well. Bilaam chased his jealousy and also fell for his lust. Zimri was looking for honor, and that brought him to lust. Many of the people that fell throughout history, you see that these 3 things typically come together as a package deal. You see them on their rise and success. And all of these stories, these documentaries they make where such and such is rise and fall of whoever it was, you see how these people had no boundaries when it came to lust, had no boundaries when it came to jealousy. They were willing to step over anyone that was in their way to success. They didn't care about morals. They didn't care about honesty. They didn't care about dignity. They simply cared about achieving whatever they desired. And if that meant taking somebody else's wife, they'll do it. If that meant killing people, they'll do it. If that meant raping, they'll do it. Whatever it was, they'll do it with no boundaries whatsoever. And this, Rabotai, is unfortunately what is happening in the world today to such an extent that people have become accustomed to chasing their lust without any boundary whatsoever. And the moment you speak out against it, they block you, they censor you, they do whatever they can to stop you from speaking the truth. Just like it's happening with TikTok as usual. After getting out of our suspension of 2 weeks, we started today a live session, and as we're speaking now, immediately they blocked us again and gave us another suspension. Why? Not allowed to tell people to control themselves. It's forbidden to tell people to control themselves. So here, Rabotai Yekarim, we see how lust can lead to the most evil things, where people cannot control themselves, don't want to control themselves. And that's when they become pedophiles. That's when they become rapists. That's when they become psychopaths that destroy society and hurt people. But worst of all are those that chase glory. Why is it worst of all? The other things, jealousy and lust, they wane, they go down over time. A person that is constantly jealous of other people's money, constantly lusting after it, over time, even if it's women or men, whatever it is, over time as the person gets older, that addiction goes down. The body slows down, the mind slows down, and even the interest is no more. The only thing that doesn't slow down is the addiction to honor, the addiction to getting honor. That, Rabotai, does not stop. It actually continues to grow with age, unless a person puts it under control. This chasing of honor is the reason why successful people run for president. Now, you look at the people that run for president. For example, Donald Trump. Donald Trump, like many other presidents, was very successful before he became a president. The only one that I believe wasn't successful before he was president was Obama. He was, I don't know, I think it was his first job was becoming a president somehow. Other than him, everybody else was pretty much successful. They had millions of dollars, they had companies, they had businesses, they had investments, inheritances, all types of things. So, why do you want to stop that? You have a $1 billion empire. Why do you want to stop that and go work for the government for a measly $400,000 a year? And again, $400,000 a year is a lot of money for most people, but not for somebody that has $1 billion. Somebody that has $1 billion, $400,000 is a day's pay. Means nothing. It's not even a monthly interest on his balance. So, why would you leave that job, that business, and go become a president? They could tell you, oh no, I could do something, I could help. Why? Help yourself. Live your life. Do whatever you want to do. Go buy an island. Go buy, a planet with so much money you can do whatever you want. What do you care about this government and what they do? You have your own, you can pretty much create your own country with that kind of money. No, but I could change and I could this. And how many presidents have come and actually changed? None. When was the last time a president came and changed anything for the positive? None of them. What do they really want? Honor. That's something that money, even the greatest amount, cannot give them the same honor as someone that's a president. Why? Because even if you have billions of dollars and you have a private jet and you have a building or 10 buildings or 100 buildings, unless you did something wrong or something special, no one's going to talk about you aside from your little circle. But if you're a president, you're in the news every day. If you're a president, people are constantly walking around just to see what you say, what you think, where you're going. There's security around you at all times, protecting your life. There are different people that literally build their careers writing about you. Programs that are looking for just 2 seconds for you to even look at them. That's not something you can buy with money. Hence the reason why the most successful people want to leave their success and go into politics. I think it was Reagan that said an interesting comment where he says, in the old days, being a politician was a stepping stone before somebody went into a real career. Today, being a politician became a career. Hence the downfall of society. So what happened here is that many people have made politics their career. And they're figuring out new ways to make wealth during there. And hence the reason why many of them, even though they only make measly salaries, somehow they end their political careers with hundreds of millions of dollars. The income that they could never get while being a politician. But somehow the money appears in their bank accounts. The point being is that these wealthy people that go into politics are not just looking for any political position. They're usually looking for the top position, the president position. Why? Top honor. He could tell people that he could press that red button to go to war. He could tell people that he was on the special plane. He could tell people all types of things that he is privy to. Now, when you tell him, listen, but if you really look at recent history, all that honor, you're right, yeah, the plane, but you have a plane. The house, but you have houses. The money, well, you have a lot more. The attention, you could buy attention if you really want. That's not the only thing you get with the presidency. You get the insults. People don't always write nice things about you. In fact, in recent history, there's been definitely more insults and mocking of the presidents than there has been praising them. This senile president that keeps falling over himself, we're not even sure if he's a real human being or he's a mannequin. The one before him that we're not even sure if he was even two before him, the Obama, whether he was even a citizen of America or a citizen of some other country. Another guy that many people think that he conspired with terrorism. Like all types of things that become uncovered, and insults and mocking, and the way you look and the way you say things, and when you make mistakes, they're constantly mocking them. In fact, it's become like a whole thing of how people are mocking the politicians everywhere except in, like Russia. Because if you mock them, pretty much you're not going to be there anymore. So, all of these people going into it know this to be true. Donald Trump, for example, I don't think there's been a president that has been hated as much as him in recent history, if ever. They hated him before he ran. He won. They hated him while he was a president. They hated him after he was a president. In the government, outside of the government, they tried to literally destroy his life. They're trying to put him in prison. Rightly so, wrongly so, irrelevant. Point is, they hate him enough to break all the rules, all the laws, all principles, just to destroy the guy. That's how much they hate him. And yet, he still goes back for another round, running for president again. Why? You have all the money in the world, just leave the country, go buy another one. Go on vacation, retire, do whatever it is that you do your whole life. Why even bother with this? You're not going to change anything. And that's the problem. When people are addicted to honor, they're addicted to glory, they're addicted to pride, they forget that all the honor that they will ever get is all false honor. Just like the Chazon is calling it. It's not real honor that you're getting. It's all false honor. When they say, oh, Mr. President, oh, boss, and even when they say, oh, Rabbi, it's all fake. All of it is fake. They don't really mean it. They're just pretending to honor you. They're just pretending to give you respect. As soon as you turn around, as soon as you say something they don't like, as soon as they simply decide to change their opinion about you, guess what? All that goes into the garbage right away. So, you chasing this pride, you're chasing your own shadow. You're chasing an illusion. It's all fake. It's all fake. And that, Rabotai, is one of the things that our holy sages knew very well. How did they know very well? The same way that Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen knew very well what the halacha was with what to do with Zimri. They knew it's all a waste of time to chase honor. They mocked it. And that's what the Chazon Ish is telling us here. That once a person adds to his store of wisdom the factors compelling him to chase false honor, anger, and other desires become depreciated in his mind's eye. It all becomes a waste of time. They know it's all fake. Why? Because they have real wisdom. They know the truth. It's all fake. This your honor and your highness and mister and rabbi, and it's all fake. All of it is fake, with no exception. It may not be fake today, it'll be fake tomorrow. It'll be fake in 6 months from now. It'll be fake in 6 years from now. Why? That's just the way it is. Unless the people that are expressing honor are actually ones that run away from honor because they also possess wisdom, everyone else that's chasing honor themselves has no concept of what real honor really is. Hence the reason that whatever comes out of them is fake. And that, Rabotai, is what the Chazon Ish is trying to tell us. He's trying to tell us, stop chasing honor. It's all fake. Stop looking for credit. It's all fake. Just do your business for the sake of doing it. Do good for the sake of doing good. Do right because it's right to do right. Not because people will say, oh, you know what? He's right. Oh, you know what? He's good. You don't need to do it for that reason. Do it because it's good to do good. And Rabotai Yekarim, if we understand this, we can now understand some of the stories about the sages that literally walked among us. And as the Chazon Ish says, there were angels among men, but they looked like men. Rav Moshe Feinstein, alav shalom, was not just a Torah giant, but he literally had such humility that from Shemaim, there was a reason why he was called Moshe. Just like Moshe Rabbeinu, the humblest man. Rav Moshe Feinstein, one time he's walking in the street, and somebody from behind him says, Moshe, Moshe! Now imagine, this is a Jew, 85, 90 years old, Gdol Adol, the whole world knows who he is. He is Moshe. He turns around, yes. And the guy, the Jewish guy, is like, no, Rabbi, no, not you, no, my kid, Moshe, his name is Moshe. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call you. He goes, oh, okay, I thought you called me. He goes, yeah, but why would I call you Moshe? He says, because that's my name. Yeah, but what wouldn't I, but you're Rabbi Moshe Feinstein, you're the Gdol Adol. Why would I call you Moshe? I would call you Rabbi Moshe. Rabbi Feinstein, why Moshe? He goes, I don't know, my Brit Milah, they called me Moshe, they didn't call me Rabbi Moshe. Like for him, it was like, what's the problem with just calling me Moshe? Now don't allow yourself for a second to call any rabbi by their first name. Because the honor you give to the rabbi is the honor you give to God. But the rabbi himself should not want to be called rabbi. You're giving the rabbi, the Talmid Chacham, the honor because God commanded it, not because the rabbi commanded it. And in essence, Rav Moshe Feinstein, like many of the other Chachamim we're going to mention, simply did not understand the honor people gave him. Not because he wasn't smart, as he was one of the smartest people on planet Earth in history, but because he was so humble, he didn't see a big deal out of just simply being called Moshe. One time when they invited him to come to the yeshiva, and of course anyone that has been to a yeshiva that is welcoming a big rabbi, the boys go wild. The boys dance, they sing, all these wonderful holy songs, and they dance and they celebrate in the honor of the Torah that the rabbi has. When Rabbi Moshe Feinstein came to visit one of the yeshivot, the kids went wild. Everybody's dancing and they're singing and there's music in the honor of the Gdol Ador. And one of the people that's next to Rabbi Moshe Feinstein, among all the noise and the celebration, he hears him whispering to himself, these young boys, they love dancing. It's amazing how young kids love to dance. Like, he's not connecting the fact that they're all dancing in his honor. They're all dancing in the honor of the Torah that he toiled for 100 years. No, he's not connecting the two. He just thinks, oh yeah, they're just dancing because they like dancing, because they're little kids, and they like dancing. That's the humility of a Gdol Ador. Rav Mordechai Eliyahu, alav shalom, was once invited to speak at an event, but they wanted to bring another person that was a person that brought a crowd, meaning he had a following, that people would come to his lectures, and they wanted to make sure that Rav Mordechai Eliyahu had even more people listen to him. So they wanted to invite somebody also that brought his own crowd. The problem is that this other person was, not exactly the most humble person, let's just say that. And he said, listen, I'm willing to come, but I'm only going to come if you put my name on top of the poster above Rav Mordechai Eliyahu's name. The people arranging it, the Gabbai, the helpers of Rav Mordechai, what? He's Gdol Ador, he's Rishon LeZion. What do you mean you above him? That's my condition. You don't put it, I'm not coming. So they're thinking to themselves, what are they going to do? I mean, this is terrible. This guy, what is he saying? Should we cancel the event? Should we just, not have these people come? But you know what? We have to ask the rabbi. So they come to Rav Mordechai Eliyahu. And he said, Kvod Rav, listen, we have a little bit of dilemma with the event. Oh, what happened with the event? He said, listen, we're planning this whole thing. A lot of people are supposed to come, but there's one issue. The other guy that's coming, we're embarrassed to even say this to you, Kvod Rav, but he wants his name to be on top of the poster, above Kvodo, above your name. Rav Mordechai Eliyahu starts laughing like he just heard a joke. He goes, what do you care? Put his name. If that's going to bring more people, put his name first. Don't even put my name. Put whatever you want. What do you care? Why do you care if my name is there, if it's second, if it's third? Who cares? We're going to learn Torah. We're going to teach Torah. What do we care what the name is? No, but for the Rav, the honor of Torah. What honor? What are you talking about? I have nothing to do with them. Just going to teach Torah. Put it over there. Put his name first. Makes him happy. Make a Jew happy. It's a mitzvah. He didn't see any need to get honor here. Why? There's a greater good. We're going to teach people Torah. We're going to teach people Torah. If that means that you have to make my name smaller, don't put my name. Put my name on the left. Put it on the right. Who cares? Who cares? Another time, a guy came to Rav Mordechai Eliyahu and told him, for the Rav, I want to get a divorce. Hashem yishmor v'yatzil. He wants to get a divorce. Why you want to get a divorce? He says, my wife is terrible. Terrible woman. Doesn't do what I want. I can't stand her. I'm kicking her out. Rav Mordechai Eliyahu knew his guy's wife. Knew he was exaggerating a little bit. But he said, okay, no problem. Come to the Beit Din tomorrow. I'll give you a get. And you give it to her. Oh, okay, fine. The next day, a young woman comes to the Beit Din of Mordechai Eliyahu. He says, Kvod Rav, I need the rabbi's blessing to find a zivug. I'm looking for a zivug a long time and I can't find a zivug. He says, can you do me a favor? And if you do it for me, I promise you're going to find a zivug this year. He says, sure, Kvod Rav, what else? He says, go put a mitpachat on, because she was a single woman, so she didn't have her hair covered. Go put a mitpachat on. I have some vegetables over there outside that are rotten. After this, some guy's coming in here. He's going to want to get something from me. As soon as he comes in, wait like 2 minutes, But as soon as he comes in, come inside, pretend like you're the Rabbanit, you're my wife. You know, you're going to be covered with the kisui rosh. Pretend like you're my wife and start yelling at me. Saying, oh, this is the type of vegetables you buy for me, stingy, and just start throwing all the vegetables at me. The woman, the young woman, she goes, no, Rabbi, me, please, do it for me. I promise you're going to find a zivug. The rabbi, Gdol Ador, said, okay. She went, hid in the corner. A few minutes later, the guy comes in. You know, he's all excited. He's going to get the get, kick his wife out. Says, yeah, for the Rav, I'm here to get the get, you know, to... Yeah, sure. We're going to get, hold on one second. Yeah. As soon as he starts talking, the woman comes in after she has the kisui rosh, and she starts yelling, this is the vegetables you give me, you stingy. And she starts throwing the vegetables at him, the tomatoes and the potato, and everything is rotten. And it's all over his clothes. And she's stingy. What kind of husband are you? This is how you treat me. And the guy can't believe what he's seeing. Even though he's scared of what to move. He's scared he's going to get a tomato on his face. He just knows the lady is upset. That's the Rabbanit. He doesn't know what to do. He says, yes, Rabbanit, I'm sorry. You're right. I'll get you better vegetables. That's the vegetables you give me. She's throwing and she's not missing. And it goes all over his clothes. You know, when it's rotten fruit, rotten vegetables, it's mushy. Yes, Rabbanit, I'm going to get you much better. She turns around and she leaves. Mordechai Eliyahu is full of vegetables everywhere, on his face, on his clothes, everywhere. He says to the guy, 1 second, let me just change clothes, and then I'll get you 1 second, okay? He goes, changes clothes, and he comes back, goes, okay, so where were we? The guy says, no, we were nowhere. For the Rav, we were nowhere. We were nothing. I just want to say hello to the rabbi. I just want to say hello. I didn't want nothing. I don't want anything. No, you said you wanted to get. No. If Kvod the Rav, I already understand. My wife is perfect. My wife is amazing. She's an angel. I made a mistake. I'm going to go home and buy her flowers. There you go. For what? He was willing to embarrass himself. Let this guy think all he wants to think about the problems that Rav Mordechai Eliyahu has in his house. Why? To save a Jewish home. That's in essence what the benefits of mocking honor. Because if you're looking for honor, such things are not possible. They're not in your world. To do such a thing, to do such a favor, to save a home, to help a person, it's not in your world. Because even when a prideful person helps another person, they're not helping them because they want to help the person. They're helping them because they're trying to help themselves. By looking good, by feeling good. Even the help that they do is another way to get pride, to get honor. And that's one of the saddest things in the world. Now, the Gemara says similar stories to these. Of course, the sages that of recent days learned it from the Gemara too. There was a woman that went to a shiur Torah on Friday by Rabbi Meir Balanes. The Gemara in Yerushalmi says that she would go to the shiur tzadikah, and the shiur was always a certain time, and this time it extended a little longer. So by the time she got home, it was already too late. She couldn't prepare everything for Shabbat. The husband got so upset, he wouldn't let her in the house. And he told her, the only way I'm going to allow you to come to the house is if you go and spit on that rabbi's face. Then you come in the house. Of course, the tzadikah did not want to spit on anybody's face, needless to say, on Rabbi Meir Balanes' face. But the husband was a rasha and he would not let her in. The Gemara in Yerushalmi says, 3 weeks this poor woman is outside. 3 weeks. Rabbi Meir Balanes came back into town, and Ruach HaKodesh he had that this is happening in that house. And he knew exactly what's happening. And he knew that she's a tzadikah and she's not going to do it. So what did he say? He said, okay, please publicize that in the community, that whoever knows how to do a lachash, it's a certain thing, a skula if you will, how to do a specific lachash that is combined with spitting in my eye because I have a certain infection in my eye. So one of the women in the community heard this, and she said to her friend, listen, that's your opportunity. The rabbi needs you to spit in his eye, so that's it. She goes, yeah, but I don't know the lachash. I don't know the rest of it. She goes, just go. Hashem will open up the door for you. The poor tzadikah comes to the rabbi, and she says, yeah, but Rabbi, I'm sorry, I don't know the lachash though. She was honest. He says, it's okay, my daughter. Just do this. Instead of the lachash, just spit in my eye 7 times. Spit in me 7 times. Now there's Talmidim watching this. She goes, no, but Rabbi, it's not respect. No, respect. You're helping me, please. So, she spits on him 7 times. After he cleans himself up, he says, now go to your dear husband and tell him you spit on Rabbi Meir 7 times, not once. She then knew exactly what happened, but at least she did what she had to do. She goes back to her husband, and her husband welcomed her back home. The Talmidim of Rabbi Meir Baranes said, Brother Rav, isn't this desecration of a Torah? He goes, no, this is Shlom Bayit. If a Kadosh Baruch Hu is willing to erase his name to save a Jewish home, why wouldn't Rabbi Meir allow a woman to spit him in his face? Here again, it's an extreme example. We're not anywhere near the level of any of these great sages. But it's simply showing us that the wiser they were, the more Torah they knew, the more they mocked honor and pride to such an extent that they literally thought it was ridiculous for anyone to try to get any honor. Harav Ovadia, alav Shalom, once had his Rabbanit made him a surprise party just for the family in honor of celebrating a new book that he published. And as soon as he got home, everybody's there and they start singing for the rabbi. You know, all of his kids, grandkids, everybody's there, they're singing, they're dancing. And then they want the rabbi to say something. And Rav Ovadia says, all of this honor is meaningless. It's useless. Because all we have and all we need is Torah. Torah, Torah. That was his speech. All this dancing, all this honor that you're giving me, it's all meaningless. What are you going to get out of it? We have already everything. It's Torah. That's it. It's all you need in the world. Torah. So again, the average person needs a little bit of good job. Needs a little compliment here and there. Needs a keep going and encouragement, because we're not at that high level. But at the same token, we have to know, what does the high level look like in order for us to aspire to the right place? If we don't know what the high level of righteousness looks like, how will we ever arrive there? How will we ever even aim there? If people think that politicians and successful businessmen are righteous, are good, are the sign of success, that's where they aim. But if they understand that they don't possess any wisdom, they themselves are miserable, they themselves are chasing something that doesn't exist, and the ones that possess the wisdom, the ones that possess the truth, they run away from honor, then at least we can direct our ship. We can direct ourselves to the direction of where righteousness looks like, where righteousness lays. And this, Rabotai Karim, is what the Chazon Ish is trying to tell us. He's telling us that this false honor, this anger and other desires will become depreciated in his mind's eye. For wisdom gives life to those who attain it. It brings them to a life of light, an elevation of the spirit, a heavenly life, forsaking of lowliness. All of these are natural consequences of gaining wisdom. What does it mean, all of this is a natural consequence? Rabbi Ephraim explains that in simple terms, everyone understands that if you have a dark room and you open the window and it's daylight, the light enters. As soon as the light enters, darkness disappears. It ceases to exist. And whatever of it is left is so minuscule that it's barely noticeable. The more light enters, the less darkness exists. The more spirituality enters a person's life, the more holiness enters a person's life, the more materialism, the more impurity leaves him. You allow holiness to enter your life, naturally that holiness will cause the impurity to leave little by little. The more purity enters, the more impurity leaves. The more spirituality enters, the more materialism leaves. The higher your soul gets, the more the lowliness, the negative traits, the more of them leave. So when people say, how do I fix myself? How do I sanctify myself? How do I better myself? Of course, we all have to work on ourselves. But at the very least here, we have clear instructions. If you want to improve your character traits, first and foremost, stop chasing after a false god. Stop chasing after false honor. Stop chasing after things that don't belong to you. Stop chasing after things that you shouldn't even want. You want to sanctify yourself? Bring more holiness, which will make the unholiness, the materialism, the filth leave. You want to eliminate the foolishness? Bring more wisdom. Bring more wisdom to your life. You want the materialism addiction to calm down, to leave? Add more holiness to your life. Add more kedusha to your life. Add more spirituality to your life. You want an overall fix? The more wisdom of Torah you have, that you're learning and applying to your life, the more the overall fix that's going to take place, because it's going to make the darkness disappear and lightness will replace it. It will make the loneliness disappear and a higher level soul will replace it. It'll make the materialism disappear and spirituality will replace it. Meaning that the more holiness you have, the more of this stuff that you shouldn't want, and when you think about it, you don't want, the more of that goes away, and good replaces all of it. This, Rabotai, is one of the fundamentals that a person needs to constantly think about. Because if they allow themselves to be controlled by their desires, if they allow themselves to be controlled by their mood swings, they allow themselves to be controlled by their yearning for all types of respect and honor, then the end doesn't look good. Rav Nisim Yagen, alav shalom, gives a couple of examples of people that were stubborn to the point of stupidity until it was too late. In page 195 in his Majesty of Shabbat Sefer, he writes that there was a family that moved to Haifa. And this was a secular family, and the neighborhood was a mix of both religious Jews and secular Jews. This family that moved to Haifa had a custom. What was their custom? To make barbecue grill on Shabbat. But not just barbecue grill on Shabbat, barbecue grill on Shabbat in the front lawn. That was their breakfast. As everybody that's religious goes to shul, these guys were making a barbecue. Now, of course, a few people complained. Come on, his name was Nimrod. Properly, his name was Nimrod, the first idol worshiper that went against God. This Rasha from Haifa also did the same. And this Nimrod didn't care that people were annoyed by it. In fact, even the secular people were annoyed by it. And they said to him, listen, we got you, you're not religious. Nobody's telling you to be religious. But there are other religious people here, and right down the corner, there's a synagogue. So a bunch of people are passing by here. You're offending them. No, this is my tradition. They have their tradition, I have my tradition. And he's making barbecue in front of them with his family. Every morning on Shabbat. Fine. He does this. Couple of weeks go by. By the third week, they're having a barbecue. And all of a sudden, Nimrod has a heart attack. Nimrod has a heart attack. They take him to the hospital. And they said, listen, it's a horrible situation, but miraculously you're saved. You're okay. And they release him by the morning of the next Shabbat. He comes home. Before he goes home from the hospital, he calls his wife. He says, honey, get the barbecue ready. I'm coming home. His wife says, honey, come on. No need. Let's just do it another day. He goes, no, we have to stick to our custom. We have to do it. It's important. He gets home from the hospital. The barbecue comes out. The wife and kid come out. They start cooking up a barbecue. Nimrod has another heart attack. Ambulance comes back. They take him back to the hospital. Now, normal people would have never done this in the first place. Abnormal people would have stopped already after the first time. This guy, 2 times already, heart attack, he's back in the hospital. Hospital, check everything. He's there for a week, released Saturday morning from the hospital. Calls his wife, honey, make sure the barbecue is ready. She goes, come on, honey, stop it. It's not me. Come on, just let's do it another day, she tells him. He says, no, we have to stand up for something. Stand for what we believe in. Stand for what we believe in. That's what he tells her. So this poor woman, her name was Vardit. She says, fine, the barbecue is going to be ready. As soon as Nimrod comes home, barbecue comes out, the coals are on fire, and before he even takes a bite, he gets a third heart attack. But this time, he dies. After they buried this guy, Vardit calls Rav Yagin. And she tells him, I need to do a tikkun for my husband. That's what he told me in a dream. Because in a dream, the angels are roasting him like a barbecue and cutting his flesh into pieces like a barbecue. So I need to do a tikkun for him. Now this guy liked barbecue so much he was willing to completely disregard everything and anything, including common sense. If he was the only one, the book would be pretty small. But unfortunately, Rav Yagin gave over 1,000 lectures, countless hours, and they're full of real stories like this. Some of them, even during his live lectures, he would give people phone numbers if he wants. Do you want to call them? Another story, he says, was a story that he got from Rabbi Kunstadt. Rabbi Kunstadt, who was an Avrech in the Kol Torah YESHIVA, told them that before the war, he was in Germany, he was a Avrech. He was a rabbi in a Kehillah over there. And the president of the Kehillah, the president of the synagogue, was a wealthy lumber merchant. President of the synagogue. One day, this president of the synagogue gets a huge shipment of lumber on Shabbat. It was unexpected, but nonetheless, it arrived on Shabbat. So he tells the non-Jewish workers to go unload the wood and put it in the warehouse, in his warehouse. The rabbi tells the president, you have to stop this work. This is Chilul Hashem. The laws of giving a Gentile something to do that you're not allowed to do are very complicated. You're not following them. Instructing them to go do the job is certainly forbidden. You can't tell a Gentile to go do something that you outright are not allowed to do. And on top of it, you're the president of the community, of the synagogue. It's Chilul Hashem. You have to stop it. This president of the synagogue starts yelling at the rabbi in front of everyone, insulting him, cursing him, embarrassing him in front of everybody, and not stopping the work. Several days later, this president of the synagogue died a strange death, and they buried him with the wood that came from his own warehouse, in a coffin that was made from that warehouse. That Shabbat that he died, in the middle of the Torah reading, a big black bulldog entered the synagogue and sat right on his chair and started barking. Rav Kunstadt says, I saw this with my own eyes. In so many words, everyone understood that this desecration of God's name that came for a lust of money, lust of honor, that led the guy to desecrate God's name, led the guy to embarrass the rabbi in front of everyone. At least part of the punishment is for him to be reincarnated into a dog. And that dog had to go listen to some Torah and tell everybody he used to be the president of the community. Rabotai, the price we pay for having jealousy in our heart, for having anger in our heart, is very dear. The Gemara says that an angry person, even his own family hates him. Even his own family hates him. Nobody likes an angry person. A jealous person is not going to be resurrected with the dead. And a prideful person, HaKadosh Baruch Hu finds him disgusting. Toivat Hashem kol gvalev. These traits go together. If we allow ourselves to express our jealousy, don't think it's going to stop there. It progresses. If we allow ourselves to talk about other people, if we allow ourselves to look at what other people have, if we allow ourselves to be jealous of what they have, if we allow ourselves to satiate all of our lusts, even the ones that are forbidden, even the ones that we know are bad, if we allow ourselves to live a life where we're constantly looking for credit, we're constantly looking for honor, we're constantly looking for someone to recognize us, we are living a life that is self-destructive. On the other hand, if we want to cure all of those ailments, the holy sages gave us clear instructions. Attain more wisdom and apply it, and all of that darkness will go out. Attain more wisdom of Torah. The more wisdom you have, the more you will be disgusted from pride, from arrogance, from jealousy, from lust, yourself. If you're still not disgusted by it, it simply means you need to acquire more Torah wisdom. If you acquired more wisdom and you're still not disgusted, that means you need to acquire even more. And more. And more. Until one day, you can tell the story and laugh about it, of how you once thought that honor is good. That talking about people and being jealous of them is a decent topic of conversation, even interesting. That somehow you deserved more than you got. That somehow you allowed yourself to get what you didn't deserve and take it. And you can laugh inside, don't publicize it, at how foolish the YESHIVA tried to make you, but how the Torah saved you. Thank you very much for learning with me. May HaShem bless each and every single one of us with enough wisdom and wherewithal to acquire more wisdom that is Torah, more wisdom that is the cure for all spiritual ailments and otherwise. BeEzrat HaShem will learn more together later this week.
That's why I took it seriously.
Hashem is trying to wake us up.
Right, exactly. Not everybody gets a second chance, have that opportunity to turn their life around. So that's one of the reasons that when I got that chance and Hashem opened my eyes, I grabbed the situation with both hands and went full on, because I knew the way that the world is going. If I let this opportunity go, very high probability that there's not going to be another chance. That's why I started going full force. And that's why you need that clarity. You need that knowledge of knowing what to ask and what to look for. You won't be able to find out by yourself. That's why you need someone like Rabbi Reuven to show you what to do and the right path.